Hello, this is Nicholas Carthy again, and I will be conducting the Reno Chamber Orchestra in 2 concerts on the 25th and the 26th of January at the Nightingale Concert Hall. People often ask me, how do you prepare scores? Well, mostly you sit in a quiet room staring at a lot of little black dots, wondering, 1, whether you understand them, and 2, whether you've actually missed anything. But sometimes there's a glamorous side to studying scores, and so today we are in Vienna. And I moved to Vienna in the 90s, and I moved to the building here, and while the movers were struggling to get the piano up to the 3rd floor, a little old lady came down the stairs and said, "Did you know Mr. Schubert used to live here?" And so for several years I trod the same steps as Franz Schubert and lived opposite the house where Salieri, Mozart's rival, lived and died. So behind me is the Musikverein, which houses some of the most valuable musical autographs, including the original score of the Schumann, which we will be playing at the concert. So what can you learn from looking at a score in autograph that you can't learn from the myriad editions that are out there? Well, in this case, you can see that the piece, despite its jubilant nature and its optimism, was a great struggle for Schumann to write. He needed to write a crowd pleaser, and he needed to make money, but he seems to have struggled very much with the idea of writing something so optimistic, and there are lots of measures that are crossed out and re-put in, and lots of dynamics. And after the first performance in 1851, which didn't really go very well, he destroyed the last movement and completely rewrote it. The only thing we have left of that original last movement is there in the Musikverein, and it is a fascinating page because it looks like it would have led us somewhere very, very different. I'm standing in front of the Hofburg Palace now, which houses the Austrian National Library, and in the Austrian National Library is a printed score of the Beethoven piece that we will be performing, with Beethoven's own corrections in it. Also housed there are copies of the dance books that KODALY used as inspiration for the dances of Galanta. The dances of Galanta originals are in what is known as Verbunkos style, and Verbunkos was a sort of recruitment dance to get young men to join the army. And it's a little bit difficult to believe that all you needed to do was to play somebody a dance to get them to join the army, and so their methods were slightly more press-gangy, slightly more scurrilous than this. And normally what they would do is they would get some pretty girl in a pub and they would ply the poor recruits with lots and lots of alcohol until they were too drunk to notice that they'd actually been conscripted into the army. And although the Dances of Galanta is not a program piece, it doesn't tell that story. It seems very much that KODALY alludes to that at the end. As the music gets wilder and wilder and drunker, if you like, all of a sudden the lights go out. And while our poor chap is lying unconscious on the floor, dreaming of the girl he met earlier, he's been conscripted to fight for king and country. The last part of our little Vienna journey brings us to Heiligenstadt, where Beethoven used to walk through the vineyards and hills looking for inspiration. One of the works we will be performing is Beethoven's concert aria A Perfido, with the wonderful Hope Briggs. This is a story of love and loss, and it's not difficult to imagine that Beethoven, who was very much a humanist but also very much a loner, would have got his inspiration from walking these paths. I am so looking forward to these concerts in Reno, and I hope that you will be able to join us for an evening of wonderful music. Thank you for watching.